Welcome to another episode of Books and Bytes.
Great to be diving into this one.
Today we're tackling Cal Newport's Digital Minimalism, choosing a focused life in a noisy world. You brought this source to us, and it really hits on something many of us feel, right?
Definitely. That sense of being overwhelmed, maybe a bit scattered by all the digital noise.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, unpack Newport's whole philosophy, look at his advice, and pull out those key ideas that can maybe help you, listening in, get a better handle on your attention, focus on what really counts.
Yeah, we'll dig into the problem he identified, what he proposes as a solution, and, see how it actually plays out.
It's amazing how early Newport was on this, thinking about it back around 2016, even before the book in 2019.
He really saw this growing anxiety around smartphones and social media taking hold. And what's great is he didn't just complain, he offered like a structured way to think about it, a whole philosophy, really.
Okay, so let's start there. The problem he calls digital maximalism. What is that exactly?
Well, digital maximalism. It's this default belief almost that if a new app or gadget might offer some tiny benefit, then, we should just adopt it.
Without really weighing the costs.
Precisely. It's like any potential upside justifies jumping in. And we often ignore the downsides, what it does to our focus, our time, our mental energy. It's just sort of assumed we should use it.
And he backs this up with some pretty startling numbers about how glued we are to our phones.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you hear that the average person touches their phone, over 2,600 times a day, that's constant.
Wow.
And then you look at, say, college students spending maybe 8-10 hours a day on screens. It shows you how central this stuff has become.
He uses these little sketches of people, right? Gabriella feeling obligated to reply to texts instantly.
Yeah.
Matthew constantly on Twitter.
Yeah, and Daniel scrolling Instagram at the gym. They're not, extreme outliers. They're just examples of how this maximalist mindset creeps into everyday life, that constant need to be plugged in, consuming.
And the key point seems to be this disconnect he observes.
Exactly. People say they value being present, focusing deeply, having strong relationships. But their actual digital behaviors often, they work against those values.
It's not that they want to be distracted necessarily.
No, it's more a result of living in this environment where technology is always there, always demanding attention in subtle ways. It's this gap between values and actions that's really at the heart of the problem he's tackling.
And this is where Newport argues it's not just about weak willpower. He talks about the design itself.
That's so crucial. He points out that these platforms, these apps, they are engineered for engagement, sometimes, even addiction.
And like infinite scroll.
Yeah, infinite scroll, those unpredictable rewards, likes, notifications that give you that little dopamine hit, the timing of alerts to pull you back in. It's all very intentional.
He has that quote, doesn't he? Something like, these services aren't designed to enhance your life. They're designed to consume it.
That's the one. It really highlights that this isn't accidental. It's a business model built on capturing and holding our attention. It's not a personal failing if you find it hard to resist. It's kind of the expected outcome.
Okay, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
Digital maximalism, engineered addiction. What's Newport's answer? Digital minimalism.
Right. And digital minimalism, it's a philosophy, a deliberate approach. He defines it as focusing your online time on a small number of carefully chosen activities that really support your values.
And then being okay with missing out on the rest.
Exactly. Happily miss out on everything else, as he puts it. It involves being selective, optimizing how you use the tech you do choose, making sure it connects to what's important to you, and seeing missing out not as a loss, but as a positive choice.
So it's strategic, not just anti-technology.
Very much so. It's about using technology on your own terms.
He lays out some core principles. The first one is clutter is costly. What kind of clutter?
It's not just about having too many apps on your screen. It's the mental clutter. Every notification, every platform you feel obligated to check, it takes up a little bit of your attention, your time, your energy.
Hidden costs.
Yeah, these small costs accumulate, often without us realizing it, leaving us feeling fragmented and, less effective, even if we don't think we're spending that much time on any one thing.
Then there's optimization is important. So it's not just if you use something, but how.
Precisely. Even a valuable tool can be detrimental if used mindlessly. So optimization means figuring out how a specific technology best serves your goals and values, and then setting up rules or constraints to maximize that benefit and minimize the downsides, like distraction.
And the third one, intentionality is satisfying. That feels key.
Absolutely. It's about moving away from just reacting to whatever the tech throws at you, away from the default settings, and instead making conscious choices. When, why, how you engage.
Taking back control.
Exactly. And Newport argues that this sense of control, this autonomy, is deeply satisfying, much more so than just passively consuming whatever comes next.
He gives examples like Laura, who schedules her social media time, or William with his flip phone. Different levels of commitment, but the same idea.
Right. And what often comes through is that people doing this don't feel deprived. They feel liberated. They gain back time, focus, mental space for things that actually matter more to them.
So how do you actually do this? He proposes this thing called the digital declutter.
Yes, the digital declutter. It's his typically, yes. He suggests being pretty aggressive here, listing out things you'll commit to setting aside completely for a specific period.
Which brings us to step 2, the 30-day break. That sounds challenging.
It is challenging, but Newport argues it's crucial. It's not just about not using the tech. It's about actively rediscovering and engaging in fulfilling, preferably non-digital, activities that align with those values you identified.
Filling the void.
Exactly. Giving yourself a real chance to experience life without those constant digital pulls, to break the habits, maybe overcome that initial withdrawal feeling. 30 days is usually long enough for that.
What do people usually feel during this break? I imagine some initial weirdness, phantom phone vibrations.
Oh, for sure. Discomfort, reaching for the phone automatically, maybe feeling like you're missing out. That's common at first. But then often people report rediscovering old hobbies or spending more quality time with people face to face.
Interesting.
Even experiencing boredom, which Newport suggests can actually be really productive, leading to creativity or just appreciating simpler things again.
Okay, so after the 30 days, step 3 isn't just going back to normal, right? It's reintroduction.
Crucially, yes. You don't just flip the switch back on. You evaluate each technology you put aside one by one. Ask yourself, does this truly and significantly support my core values?
And if the answer is yes,
then you can reintroduce it, but, and this is key, with very clear rules and boundaries about how and when you'll use it. You optimize its use from the start based on what you learned during the break. This prevents just sliding back into old habits.
Makes sense. So beyond the declutter, the book talks about ongoing practices for minimalism. One is spending time alone, solitude. Why is that so important for him?
He draws on thinkers like Thoreau, even figures like Lincoln, arguing that true solitude, time free from the input of other minds, is vital. It's where we develop self-understanding, process things deeply, gain clarity, foster creativity, and it's something that's become really scarce in our hyperconnected world.
So we need to consciously make space for it.
Yes. He suggests practical things. Long walks without your phone, journaling, just driving without the radio or podcast sometimes, leaving the phone at home occasionally.
Little moments adding up.
These moments let our brains, process, consolidate memories, think without constant interruption. He mentions Lincoln using retreats for reflection during the Civil War, showing how solitude can actually help with complex problem solving and maintaining perspective. It's good for emotional regulation, too.
Another practice that jumped out was don't click like. That feels like attacking a core social media function.
It does. But Newport draws this really important line between the shallow connection of likes and quick comments and real, rich conversation.
The argument being that one doesn't replace the other.
Exactly. He cites research, like Sherry Turkle's work, suggesting heavy social media use can actually increase loneliness, despite the feeling of being connected. These low-bandwidth interactions just don't satisfy our fundamental need for genuine connection in the same way.
So the alternative is actual talking.
Pretty much. Prioritizing face-to-face time, making phone calls, joining real-world groups or communities, shifting energy from collecting likes to cultivating actual conversations.
He mentions friends swapping social media for monthly dinners, things like that.
Yeah, examples where people consciously traded the quantity of weak ties online for the quality of stronger real-world relationships and found it much more rewarding.
Okay, then there's reclaiming leisure. This feels huge because passive scrolling can eat up so much free time.
It really can. Newport emphasizes high-quality leisure, activities that aren't just passive consumption.
What defines high-quality leisure for him?
Things that often involve using a skill, maybe creating something, connecting with others in a meaningful way, engaging your mind and body, and ideally, things that don't rely on digital tech.
He mentions the Bennett principle.
Right. The idea that activities where you're actively developing a skill, woodworking, learning an instrument, coding, fixing things, tend to be way more satisfying than just passively watching or scrolling. They engage you more deeply.
He has examples, right? The lawyer doing woodworking, the student in a theater group.
Yeah, people rediscovering these hands-on, engaging hobbies. It's about finding activities that provide that sense of flow, that deep immersion and satisfaction that Csikszentmihalyi talks about. Intentional, rewarding leisure, not just killing time online.
And the last practice he outlines is join the attention resistance. This sounds broader.
It is. Here, he's saying, look, this isn't just an individual problem. The whole culture of digital maximalism is a societal issue, driven by powerful commercial interests.
So we need collective action, too.
To some extent, yes. Supporting sensible regulation, maybe. Creating tech-free zones in schools or communities. Simply modeling healthier tech use ourselves. And just talking more openly about the costs, not just the benefits, of these technologies.
Like that San Francisco neighborhood smartphone compact you mentioned.
Exactly. Recognizing that systemic forces are at play and that banding together or setting community norms can be powerful. It's not just you against the machine.
Running through all this is a deeper philosophical thread, isn't there? About what makes a good life.
Definitely. Newport connects digital maximalism to threats against core elements of human flourishing. Things like autonomy. Are we in control? Competence. Are we building real skills? Connection. Are we having deep relationships? And contemplation. Do we have space to think?
So mindless tech use makes us reactive, passive consumers, shallow interactors.
And it prevents reflection. Digital minimalism, then, isn't just about managing your phone. It's about intentionally shaping technology's role to actually support these deeper human needs, using it to enhance our humanity, not diminish it.
The case studies really bring this home. Jessica, the marketing exec, Marcus, the student.
Yeah, seeing how people made concrete changes limiting social media, swapping gaming for real-world activities, shifting business focus away from Instagram, and the positive impacts on their focus, relationships, well-being.
There's often that initial fear, then rediscovery, then more intentional use.
That seems to be a common arc. It shows the principles can translate into real, meaningful change.
Wrapping up, Newport kind of zoomed out again, right,
Yeah.
to the bigger picture.
He does. He reminds us that this digital revolution is still pretty new. We're still figuring out healthy norms. And often the commercial incentives of tech companies don't align with healthy use.
So it takes conscious effort, individually and maybe collectively.
Right. We need to make choices. His vision isn't anti-tech, but it's one where people use technology intentionally for specific purposes while still having rich, fulfilling offline lives. It's about mastery over the tools.
That final thought sums it up well. The key is using it to support your goals and values rather than letting it use you.
Exactly. It's about agency. Active mastery versus passive consumption.
And this isn't a one-and-done fix, is it? It's an ongoing practice.
Very much so. Digital minimalism needs vigilance, adaptability. Technology changes, our lives change. But the core idea that we have the right and responsibility to shape our relationship with tech, that remains constant.
Especially relevant now with how much more digitally dependent we've become post-pandemic, maybe.
Absolutely. The pressures are arguably even higher now. So Newport's framework offers tools for individual well-being, but also, I think, a vision for a more humane direction for technology and society. It's a guide to reclaiming attention in a world constantly trying to grab it.
We've really only just scratched the surface of the insights in digital minimalism. Cal Newport offers such a complete framework, lots more examples. It's quite compelling.
It really is a thorough guide.
So if you're feeling that digital pull, that distraction, and you want to get more intentional about technology in your life, we definitely recommend checking out the full book.
Yeah, dive deeper into it.
You can grab a copy of Digital Minimalism using the link you'll find in the description. And of course, if you found this deep dive helpful, please do subscribe to Books and Bytes for more explorations of really impactful ideas like this one.